Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today, we have Michelle Kim from Sterling Escrow 2. She's going to talk about the escrow process. So she's going to cover a variety of different things. And then anybody that has any questions, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, you can feel free to ask either during the presentation or after. So, Michelle.
Oh, thank you, Carlos. I've been known Carlos since 2004. So 21 years.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
From children.
From another company. And I love working here. I'm Michelle Kim, by the way, just for somebody who watched this video for the first time. I'm Michelle Kim, and I'm the escrow officer and general manager at Sterling Escrow 2, in-house escrow for Popular Banker Platinum Properties. I've been with Sterling Escrow for a total of 14 years and retired me. And in escrow business for over 20 years. And I love what I do. And when I'm busy, I work 24/7, 365 days. Because I love my job and I love to help everyone.
It doesn't seem to be going on Zoom, just like.
We have people.
Jonathan, can you hear us? Pardon me? I'm asking Jonathan if he can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Carrie, can you hear us?
I sure can. Hello.
Hi, and hi, Harriet.
Hi.
Thanks for coming today.
Oh,
Thanks
hi,
for having me. Hi, Michelle.
hi, how are you?
I'm
I
good.
love your logo, your profile photo. I really appreciate you trying to learn when you know everything about escrow already, Harriet.
Oh, yes, I do. It's just spewing out of my brain.
Wait.
Did you hear me introducing myself that I've been in this business over 20 years?
I know.
Oh, okay. Harriet is one of my favorite agents too. And we worked out together too. Okay, let's get back to escrow. So my goal for today is by the end of this class, you know basics of all escrow. Okay, so that's my goal. And also this class I like to have as two-way discussion class instead of me talking. So feel free to ask me any question at any point, please. Right? Okay, so what is escrow? So I will just simply put, because it's actually escrow does a lot of work, but I will just simply explain to you what is escrow. Escrow is neutral third party, cannot take any side, seller or buyer, collecting all the documents and collecting all the funds, and all the conditions are met, and send recording document to the title company to record. And after recording is confirmed, then escrow, which is settlement agent, disperse all the funds, like your commission, to your broker. And if there was a loan, then loan agents check to the loan broker. Sellers proceeds to the seller, buyers refund to the buyer. And TC check to TC, and termite and inspection and completion check to the termite company, and home warranty and homeowners association prepaid bills, because homeowners association typically process change of ownership so slow, so they require title company to pay even first month or first and second month after close of escrow, already charge the buyer and prepaid to the homeowners association. So they have a 2 month of window to change of ownership. So that's the escrow.
Does escrow also pay taxes? Any taxes?
Oh, of course. I'll explain to you when I go over title. Okay, so next one, before we go each step by step, what escrow company does, escrow officer does, with the timeline, I'd like to briefly explain about title insurance. Because when you meet with your client. When buyer has the loan, then they see the charges of title, insurance charge, which is lender's title insurance charge and escrow fees, and they'll ask you, what are these? As long as they get charged, they'll ask you, and at least you can explain them simply. So what is title insurance? So for myself, I wouldn't purchase any property without title insurance and escrow services. It's not lawfully mandatory to use title and escrow, but I wouldn't, because who's gonna ensure that I'm the new owner without title insurance? So title insurance does research very thoroughly because they don't want to hit by title insurance claim after escrow close, right? So they search for the history of the property and make sure who's the legal owner at this time. And Mark helped me, and Mark and I worked together. There was original trustee passed away, and purchase contract has totally new name on there. But then title company drew preliminary title report, which it has all the history of the house and all the encumbrances in the against the property, which is liens and judgments and any defaulted tax, like Carlos just asked. So title company will thoroughly research property because they don't want to get hit by title insurance claim. So that's what title company does. Then when title company draw preliminary title report with all these kind of encumbrance, judgment, liens, and any unpaid tax, who get the demands for that? Escrow company does.
So you're the one who requests, based upon the statement of information, you request demands from the various lenders or whomever is owed money associated with property. Is that?
That's correct. So first thing I do at close, I was explaining about the title, right? It's okay, it's okay. So escrow company does that. So title company is insuring title insurance. It's not the structure insurance, it's not the homeowner's insurance, it's just for the title, any defect of title. So when buyer purchased the property, there's nothing, no lien, encumbrance for the new buyer. So title insurance insure that. Did I
Can I ask you
explain?
a simple question? Let's say like there's a simple lien against a property,
Mhm.
like somebody hired a general contractor to do work on the property and they never paid the general contractor. So general contractor goes to the county, reports a lien against the property. I'm just kind of waiting patiently for them to sell the property.
Mhm.
That will be on the title.
Yes.
And then after the title company does research and they see that,
Then escrow company contact that, that calls mechanic's lien.
okay,
And that with that, because these days prelim is all hyperlinked. So I click that link and see who's the lien holder, contact them and ask them to provide me how much this owner owes.
so when I get that, I
Mhm.
click the hyperlinks to
Okay.
double check to see if there's anything strange. But
Mhm.
I always kind of wondered if somebody else was double checking too in case.
I have
I
to,
don't know if the buyer's checking, like everyone's trying to check, but I'm wondering if something is missed somewhere.
Well, can I respond to that? So realistically, when the prelim comes out, the agents representing the clients should be reviewing the preliminary
Right.
title report. So it's not just escrow, but escrow's obligation is, or their goal is to release or minimize any of those exceptions on the report. But the purchase contract itself indicates, unless the parties agree to it, that the buyer is not going to accept any of the obligations, outstanding obligations associated with the seller. So it's not gonna close unless all of those obligations are released at or at the close of escrow.
So I'm just kind of wondering if it's
Oh,
this
Mark.
by buyer's agent, buyer, escrow.
You say miss,
Like
if it's
we-
not on the preliminary title report,
Was it see it somehow?
yeah, if it's not a preliminary title report, then that's what title insurance is going to insure against.
Okay.
So if it's something, remember, the seller has an obligation to report any known encumbrances, even if it's not shown on that prelim. And so of course, we have some sellers that may not necessarily be forthright, but if it's not shown as an exception, that's what title insurance is going to insure against.
So if escrow closes and then they find out later on that there is a conflict against the property, that's when your title insurance will kick in
Correct.
and mediate the issue.
Yes, yeah, they're not gonna just pay it off necessarily, but they're going to see what they can do to mitigate any damages that they're going to incur in terms of paying off that encumbrance.
But another set of eyes is the escrow department is looking also.
I have to, and actually, we cannot close escrow with any outstanding demand out there. That's why that's why I said I'm not going to purchase property without any title, insurance and escrow. You are good, Gina, you are checking prelim, you're supposed to, but title and escrow company, first thing I do is looking for those liens. And one more add to that, some of the mechanics liens are not in report yet. If this house was having constructions and seller just sold it, but mechanic, those contractor didn't report yet. So in that case, that's why title company has declaration, owner's declaration page. They have to confirm that there is no outstanding mechanics liens out there. They didn't do any repair and remodel last 6 months. Because 6 months is period that mechanics, those contractors supposed to report those liens. Does it make sense?
Yeah, once the contractor records mechanics, and then we have, I think, up to 60 days to effectively need to initiate litigation. Otherwise, their claim against the property would be deficient, actually.
What if you see a mechanic's lien on the preliminary title, but then you contact the individual who reported the claim,
Yes.
but you can't get a hold of them?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I have to be on it. Typically, I find that, especially that case, it's not a mechanical liens that I like to add. If the seller has solar panels leased, that's another thing. Solar company keep changing ownership. They sold, and now seller is selling this property with solar financing statement, which is UCC 1. When any seller lists the solar panel, that solar company put the lien on the house too. That calls UCC 1. It's not a deed of trust or a mortgage lien, but it's UCC 1. That has to be terminated from seller, which is called same as satisfaction of judgment or reconveyance. It's called UCC 3, UCC termination. So when seller sold the property, sell the property and buyer assume that lease, then seller need to terminate, solar company need to terminate this UCC 1 for seller and put another UCC 1 for buyer, financing statement for the buyer. Right? So
That's something that's kind of.
that takes a long time. So finding this old lien holder is kind of challenging. So that's why in my 20 years, I always found that lien holder. That's why one time, title manager sent person to send one, whoever the coworker to the San Francisco from Orange County to get that lien holder to sign up demand and satisfaction of a judgment. So somehow God loves me that always I get the demand in before closing or way before closing. So I closed one deal with Johnny with about 8 leads on there. And so one more thing that I have to point it out to you, it's more, I was going to focus on more buyer, but this part I need to explain about. When you have a listing, your seller has many liens against this property. This case was original owner passed away, and this owner let it leave that house for a long time without taking care of finance. So you can imagine this person who original owner passed away, there is 8 lien, and I get that escrow and try to contact all that lien holder. But one thing I do for the courtesy, whoever take care of that successor trustee or somebody who's estate administrator or whoever, I contact them first and send them preliminary title report and ask them, I have this many liens. Do you need the time to negotiate with them? This is something courtesy, because once I send the demand to lien holder, they're not gonna negotiate because this lien holder will know his house cannot sell without paying me. So I'm gonna send the demand to escrow as much as possible, right? So I tell that seller who's taking care of that property, can you let me know if you need to contact them first and negotiate the demand amount, please let me know when you are done so I can order demand. That's something
Does that
very
make sense to you?
that's the seller's part. I'm trying to focus on more buyer. Okay,
But if like in that situation, would it be like recommended to order a preliminary title report earlier before escrow begins,
of course,
right? So like
Of
the listing agent always gonna order that right away with the seller, so they can see if there's any issues like this before.
you're so good. Yeah, that's one other thing. I'm
So the only thing I can say about that, it costs the title company money to provide a title report, so it's not. I would assume with your relationship, they may provide a premium for you, but it's probably not what we see as being customary. But if you believe that there's issues that are to be addressed, I think it's in her example, 8 different liens, you can see how time consuming that would be to take care of all of those issues. And then suddenly escrow is the one who's seems to be the obligated party to address all these issues, even though they're not the ones who caused all the pig tracks on these buyers or sellers. Probably.
So if you had something where like the trustees are actually in charge, they haven't lived at the property, they don't know a lot about the history of the property necessarily, might be recommended to do that.
You can, I think I don't know how many times you actually see prelims pulled before it's ever put on the market.
So this is recording, so I'm trying to, limit it what I can explain to you guys. So I don't think Holden will mind, but Holden always, as soon as he get listing and he knows for sure that he will sold that listing and listing will not be canceled, then he contact the title company and CC me to order that prelim already. So that's one of them. I know it costs for somebody something, and I feel bad that in case sometime listing contract cancels too. But you have to think about yourself when you get listing. It's wise to order it already, at least to see. And also there are some buyers, they have superstitions. So if there is some lien, too many liens, they feel like, oh, you know what else there in this property. Because we don't want to limit our buyers for the listing agent, right? So I actually recommend listing agent to order prelim already and clean out with me together earlier on. And same as term, do the termite completion already and present to the buyer, new clean house, same as title. So that's really good question, Gina.
So I'm thinking if you order it ahead of time and the seller knows that it's a cost of a preliminary title report or the termite report, it only just behooves the seller to be more motivated to sell the property. Like I'm already in it, I've already paid a couple $1,000 or whatever. used.
I'm not gonna disagree with
I'm
that.
just
It's
wondering.
the best possible approach. It's just not all
It-
title
it's
companies
not.
will offer that. They don't necessarily send a bill, at least my understanding, to the seller.
No,
But it's just a cost that they incur.
Right. It's a cost that would be added to their, us. to
Well, if it
escrow
doesn't
account,
close,
right?
obviously they don't recover the costs associated with providing that for you.
It isn't sent to the, it isn't sent to the seller.
no. Only agent and escrow and title keeps it. And that's why it's practice for listing agent who gets a lot of listings. So that's good tip.
So how long is the prelim report gonna expire?
So, when escrow opens, we update, of course, because we need to put new buyer's name on there and new escrow numbers there. So expiring is, there's no expiration date, but when we, before close, title company date down. And we have to date down too, we have to update it. So it's more important thing is updating the premium, it's not expiring. It can be expired today if there is another link in.
Or they just always keep update until before, right?
So,
Right before.
the term date down is that subsequently before the close of escrow, she's saying they'll search the records once again
Or before we close that.
before they close.
Yeah, title company cannot just record and close with not, date down, yeah, date down is researching again. Yeah, so there's no expiration date, or expiration date is daily, because, title companies, update, they have to, yeah, that's what title company and I do. All right, before, any question, Mark? Mark is
I have a
also
quick
very
one.
thorough.
No, I just don't want to sidetrack Richard. A quick question. So in a situation where there's a mechanics lien, isn't it common for general contractors to go out of business? What if, I guess, there's a mechanics lien and that general contractor has gone out of business? At that point, does the amount still need to be paid? Well,
No, they, once the mechanics lien is filed, they have to perfect that lien within 60 days, meaning they have to initiate litigation. And if they don't, then theoretically, title what we would probably ask is that title remove that exception from the preliminary title report, so the buyers are insured against any further claims associated with that contract. That's what I would think would probably take place.
So in that case, they try to call the mechanic, I mean, not mechanic, the general contractor, he's out of business, they can't get a hold of him.
Well, if they haven't filed litigation, then I would say nothing's gonna take place anyways, because that mechanics lien is no longer going to be deemed valid. So they file a lien, puts everybody in notification, and if they don't initiate litigation, that lien will become invalid at a certain point in time.
It doesn't fall off, it just remains there.
Well, theoretically, it may forever remain out there, but the California law is such that if they don't initiate litigation, then the mechanics lien that they filed is no longer a valid encumbrance against the property. So realistically, Michelle would probably then say to title, well, we need to remove that exception from the preliminary title report to be sure that the buyer is insured against any future claims associated with that contract.
Sorry for me asking this again. So basically, I'm a general contractor. I don't get paid. I file it against the property.
Mhm.
I have 60 days
I
to,
believe that's the time frame.
60 days to sue the owner of the house.
Yes.
If I sue the owner of the house, I get the judgment towards myself, my favor. It stays on as a lien on title in that case.
Yes,
Or-
that will, right.
Yeah, if he doesn't pay me right away.
Mhm.
But that's situation one, escrow, escrow would find that on title. Situation two, I'm a general contractor. I file a lien against the house, but I never sue. That I have not perfected the lien. The lien doesn't mean anything. It might be recorded on there. Michelle gets it,
Mhm.
then what happens?
That's when we say to the title company, hey, the time frame has passed for the contractor to perfect the lien by initiating litigation. Remove that exception from the title report.
Mhm.
So the buyer is then insured against any future action by that contractor.
It's a lot of power.
Yeah. And then can I add one thing in regards to title insurance? So we have a current example, as a matter of fact, that took place for the buyer that we represented. I know we're talking about buyers. And the buyer or the seller was also the lender for the second deed of trust in the amount of $500,000. Well, somehow he falsified, fortunately, it's not us associated with this claim, a payoff demand, took the money, and now the actual lender, who was never paid off at the close of escrow, initiated foreclosure proceedings against our buyer. And now title insurance is kicking in to defend the buyer against this claim in which there's foreclosure proceedings filed against this property. So very, let's see, it's devastating for the buyer that owns the property. Now they get these foreclosure notices or notice of default filed against the property. So here's an example in which title insurance is providing coverage benefiting the buyer. So when Michelle said I would never buy a property without getting title insurance, I agree with her wholeheartedly. I don't care what you're doing, cash, whatever the case may be.
How many times have you seen that situation?
It doesn't happen that often, but in this case, and then apparently it seems as if the seller did this to a few different transactions in which he was selling the property, and now nobody can locate him. Yes.
He just intentionally do that.
Intentionally, he was intentionally
Maybe
doing it.
falsify a payoff.
Well, that's a good question. We're not quite sure yet how that all happened. It seems as if escrow, this is, one of Giselle's transactions, the escrow company, we tried to get the escrow away from them because they were charging $16,000 for each side for escrow fees on a $3.2 million transaction. So we even filed a complaint with the Department of Business Oversight, or Department of Financial Oversight now, State of California, and of course, fees are not regulated, just in case somebody questions that. But it almost suggests that maybe escrow somehow, because they worked with this
Seller before.
person who's a lender, maybe have some kind of implications associated. We don't know at this point in time. That's a secondary issue.
You needed a reconveyance, right?
Yeah, we got they received a reconveyance that was requested by escrow.
Wow.
Because that's why I never receive any payoff demand from the principal seller. Oh, you don't need to order it. I'll help you. I'll send you my payoff demand. Then I said, oh, you can send it over to me for my information. But I always contact the direct lender myself to get a demand and send it to them.
Have you
So
ever seen a
here's the-
situation where somebody's bought a property without title insurance?
Never.
Have you ever seen that?
That's
Well, I've witnessed people buying without title insurance, but I've never witnessed someone who's bought it without title insurance and had a claim like this.
They're lucky.
Yeah. And then it's gonna be difficult for that person who bought the property, who subsequently sells it, to get title insurance. To any subsequent buyer. Oh, I'm sorry. Pass those around.
Yeah, I just put the very simple timeline for the escrow here because I was preparing for this just to simplify and for anyone who's not knowing what escrow is, procedure is for in that. So next session, when we are going to go to more deeper in that, but today I just, as I explained to you from the beginning, I just want you by the end of this class, just know what the basics of escrow. So you can have that in your head, then you can present to your clients the simple way, right? And before I go on this timeline, and I just wanted to share with you guys, I've been working with so many agents, and I see most successful agents, they have really good problem-solving skills, and they're successful. How that comes with a good problem-solving skill is, of course, lots of experience and practice. Practice makes perfect. So practice and always try to learn, right? So those successful agents, when any issue arises during escrow, they simplify it and present that simplified issue to their clients with few solutions. Because your client doesn't have experience, and when you ask, oh, for example, oh, there is some kind of finding we found on woodwork or something. Oh, what would you like to do? Where, for example, they don't have no idea what that is. So if you, that's why you need to study a lot and practice a lot and learn a lot, coming to classes and learn ahead of everything. So you can give your client best simple as solutions. Then I have the smooth escrow. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you, and I'm pretty sure all of you will be successful agent since you are here in these rainy days, and all of you have with the Zoom participating too. I'm so happy you guys are here. So let's go over, I'm sorry that I should have prepared you guys on the Zoom about this escrow process. I will have Carlos, I'll give it to you guys after the fact, so you guys can review what you learned today. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'll send it out via email.
Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna update our website too with this. I updated a little bit because the one on our website, so the escrow is a little bit outdated. Okay, so let's start with how escrow procedure. First thing, it's one of the favorite time. I'll say the few favorite times, but this is one of my favorite. I get an email from listing agent, typically listing agent, seller's agent. They send me fully executed contracts. It could be, I like to have only one just RPA, but sometimes I get multiple sellers, multiple counter offer, and buyers counter offer, and all the counter offers and addendums and tax over the low, Then I can guess that, oh, okay, this one will be high maintenance. And that's fun, that's always fun. So typically listing agent provide me contract to escrow, and with good agent already give me buyer's agent's information, their TC information, seller's contact information, homeowners association contact information, their name, and because common disclosure, which is including homeowners association document, is one of the contingency removal documents. So I need to order it because they typically, without rush fees, now each homeowners association takes charges of about $1,000.
So escrow always orders that.
I orders, but seller need to pay that $1,000 upfront fee for the document fee and transfer fee already. Some HOA have seller prepaid the transfer fee together with the document fee. That adds up to $1,000, almost $900. And I have to rush it. Sometimes I have to just rush it because contingency removal is within 7 days. And if I don't order rush, then just to have seller save the $150 rush fee, you get hit by contingency removal is not being done or accept that homeowners association document. So I order it on behalf of the seller and send that upfront fee link to seller so seller can pay those upfront fees. And HOA, they don't even touch the HOA documents to send it to me until somebody pays for it. So sometimes agent pays for it, and I reimburse agent at the close of escrow that too. So, but seller's supposed to pay for that.
So to streamline the opening of escrow, the listing agent should send you a fully executed contract with any addendums and counteroffers. They should send you the contact information for their seller, contact information for
HOA information
HOA information, and then the buyer's agent.
and buyer's agent and commission, did you say? Now it's compensation.
Okay, and then how soon do you do you send over the email to the seller with the link for the HOA docs?
Usually, I preferably when I receive honest money deposit. But some of the listing agent want me to order it right away because long time ago, homeowners association not allow. I keep using same document for different buyer, but now there's so many cancellation, they disregard the buyers changing. But when first escrow cancel and escrow documents, HOA demand to have a buyer's name and contact information all there from the beginning, because they are trying to use us to get buyer's information. But they don't do anything until actually escrow close. And I send the copy of grant deed to show who's the final buyer and closing funds, like first month's or second months of the after escrow close, that prepaid, right? So that's that. And yeah, receive listing agent's contract, right? And then send wiring instructions to the buyer for EMD via secure email. Because again, wire frauds are so frequent these days. And luckily, I never had any wire fraud on myself, because I like to think I always send secure email to the buyer. And I call them right away and introduce myself and go over verbally. They have to read my wiring instruction to me and confirm and remind them. They usually buyer one question over it. When do I have to send this money? Then I say, oh, technically you have a purchase contract. Sometimes counter offer say within 24 hours, then I explain within 20, so tomorrow. But purchase contract calls for 3 business days after acceptance day. So I tell them, oh, it's this day, but if you like to ahead of that schedule, you can just send, as soon as you like to. So I encourage buyer to commit to this contract if they like to buy it, right? So then after I receive honest money deposit, I let seller know. Even after I talk to buyer say, oh, I'm going to send it probably by the 3rd day. Then I contact the listing agent and let them know that buyer will deposit EMD on the 3rd day or tomorrow. That's why. Do you remember, Mark? I did that, right? Okay, and then next one is open title. Everything is probably repeated because we went over briefly when I explained what escrow does, right? So open title order, why? Because I like to have the preliminary title report and review them and clear any unusual liens ahead of time. So we'll do that and prepare escrow instructions and related documents. So next session, we'll go over buyers and sellers escrow instructions, but today we'll just go over, that's what we'll do. Any question up to that?
Yeah, when ordering the common interest disclosures, could you also mention to them about the homeowner certification? Often, that's not necessarily something that is ordered initially, but that's what's going to reveal any litigation or deficiencies if there's something that the HOA has cited a homeowner for, unless we get the HOA certification. It's typically the lender that requests that, but if from my perspective, if there's no lender, I think we probably, as an agent, want to be sure that that is something that's included also when ordering the common interest disclosures.
The HOA provides that.
It will,
Yes.
for always a fee. But the HOA certification is going to reveal any existing litigation associated with that condominium or PUD, for example. Otherwise, without that, we never necessarily know and enforce it. What happens many times, the lenders tend to dictate that, or they're the ones who then make the request of escrow to order it. But so often it's later on in the process, and then that can cause delays in the transaction.
So is it at all? Would a listing agent and a seller ever just order the HOA and the homeowner certification ahead of time?
So,
Or they even get it active?
yeah, what Richard said is correct too, but for me, I always order litigation disclosure.
You do.
I do. Because typically that comes in on the demand, a homeowners association demand statement. It should disclose it if there are any violation of the property or litigation. So most of HOA has that litigation, and if it's not, then I always order the litigation disclosure.
But you can't count on any other escrow officer always making that a practice.
Correct.
of
So,
Ordering that HOA certification.
But again, I know and Michelle would order it, you know, immediately.
I have to,
online, Right,
I
she
have
has
to.
to, she
Yeah.
has to, but I'm wondering, would a listing agent and a seller ever order any of this ahead of time? Before we get into escrow?
that's,
Just like preliminary title report, like just front load the
I
entire
like
thing.
to answer to that question. Some of sellers, they rented it out and somehow they don't pay attention to HOA mail. They put the ACH payment online, so they don't pay attention. So I think that agent also need to disclose if there's HOA litigation on TDS.
They should, if they're aware.
But most of the case, they don't have that. Oh, my seller didn't know about this. They supposed to, but they don't.
I would say generally, most sellers never order the common interest disclosures in advance. So it's possible, let's assume that maybe a transaction with escrow had failed. It's possible they may include that in the supplements because they know that's going to be an issue as the transaction proceeds, but I don't think it's a general practice.
So that's good point, Rich, because some of the litigation regarding defect of a building, then Fannie Mae, they are not going to lend money to this HOA. So that's really important. I like to have all the listing agents communicate with the seller and find out after they get the listing about that. So that's the first thing I actually ask the listing agent, do you know, in about 20 days or 14-day escrows, I always ask that to listing agent. Did seller mention anything about litigation on HOA? And they usually say, oh yeah, there is litigation. Then I super rush the HOA documents. So I like to see. So it's not in my position to review that litigation, but I like to see it. So if it's anything like just one of the residents there cross the common area, they fell and sue the HOA, that's okay. That's fine for the lender, but building defect is the one that buyer cannot get the loan. So unfortunately, those condominium owners, they have to sell to all cash buyers.
Or hard money.
Hard money.
What we're seeing more often now with condominiums, the reserves are well underfunded, so maybe sometimes 20% underfunded for their insurance issues. So Fannie Mae looks at that product and deems them to be non-warrantable, meaning they will not loan on that product. And if that's the case, then it's likely those products are going to sell for less money, and you're going to have to get a hard money loan once you're paying for cash.
But there's one bank, they do loan without that litigation, so if you guys need that information, I can provide you. And so let's go to, actually, I'm glad you guys asked or Rich asked some really important subject on this discussion. That's really good. So are you guys okay? I'm jumping buyer and then seller. Are you guys okay doing that? Because that's what it is. Escrow is all intertwined. Title company, escrow company, buyer, seller, and listing agent and buyer's agent. So, okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay. And and also Sonia, I handle Sonia's escrow. And
It's a lot.
yeah, she had a really nice seller, but I really respect Sonia's patience because you did a really good job with the seller. This seller came to our office, if I may share. Yeah, and it's tomorrow, like day after tomorrow is closing date, and she's reluctant to sign grant deed. I need that. there. She said that she will sign later, which sounds like that she's not gonna sign it, right? So Sonia tried and I invited her to my office and explained. And she signed, and even after sign, she wanted to take it back with her, right? You remember? So anyway, and because it delayed too. So whenever escrow delays, then seller is just so impatient. So that happens, but yeah, we went through that. So next one is, yeah, so if there is a homeowners association or condominium and seller or listing agent orders termite inspection report, there is one thing that you have to be sure, you have to call that sub HOA who managing the structure and call them first because you don't want to waste your money or your buyer, seller's money. Call the HOA. Do you guys only accept your affiliated termite company's inspection report? Then they say, yeah, we only use you for termite. Or, oh no, you can just send us any termite report and we'll review it and let you know which items HOA covers and which items that seller's responsibility. So as seller's agent, listing agent, we are crossing to listing agent. If there is condominium, you have to call the HOA to find out before order termite inspection, which company you need to order through. So you don't have to, I've seen so many times listing agent order 2 report because one is not acceptable by the HOA.
But it's only with condos. It's not with single family homes.
Attached, typically attached, right?
Attached.
But if it's.
Single family home, it doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
Who cares? Buyer would probably mind because buyer did inspection report and seller had, there are so many termite and seller provide inspection report with about 1/3 of findings, right? So then buyer hire termite company, then we have 2 termite.
So it's a planned unit development, use code process, an example with their shared amenities, single family homes, you can choose for everyone. But if it's a condominium, so identified interest, then they very well may have somebody that they choose to work with. It seems to be more common, don't you think? That usually they have somebody to work with as opposed to choosing their own or a condominium.
Mhm. That's correct. So then after that is ordering home warranty. I just put home warranty here, but I, typically buyer's agent order it 1 week before because in case, again, if it doesn't close, you don't want to order it and cancel it. So Mark, you order home warranty about a week before, right? If you have to. Or you probably do all your own, right?
Wait until all the contingencies have been removed.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, after continuous removed. That's correct. And another thing is when I send out escrow instructions, I typically retrieve buyer's escrow instructions and all of buyer's document first. Then I send out seller's escrow documents because seller will sign it. But I just wanted to wait until buyer commit to it and sign it to make seller more convenient.
Buyer's documents that you're sending at the very beginning of escrow, is it receipt of document or is it acceptance of documents? Like that signature.
It's our escrow instructions
Is that-
are joint escrow instructions, so I don't repeat on my escrow instructions anything already stated on the RTA. So basically, any escrow company's escrow instruction is for general provision showing, let both parties know that we cannot close with one side agreement. We have to have both side agreements, then we'll close accordingly. That's basically what it is. And compensation instructions. And to the buyer, again, there is title company not only search for the seller's confidential information with their social security number and driver's license, and then their 10-year residencies, 10-year occupancy. The reason is they don't want to miss anything. Because one time there was EDD lien of 250,000. And preliminary title report didn't have that, because that was the seller was the son. And, oh, seller was the dad, father, and he opened the store for his son, seller's son, and guaranteed that business. So title company missed that EDD lien. At the closing, they found that EDD lien. So I was my heart was struck because, it wasn't on the prelim. But luckily seller knew, oh, I thought I could pay that after escrow close. But they had money, so they sent in $250,000 to close. Usually seller doesn't need to send the money in unless it shows that one time ago. So that's that. And so we are only up to warranty. Okay, let's have a little bit. First I thought it's gonna, be really quickly, but it's taking so much time. That's good, it's fun. Good information. Yeah, is it? Yeah, thank you, Sonia. Okay, so I told you that we order open title right away, and then review the preliminary title report and order all demand. Actually, on the seller side here, that I order all the demand and everything is already discussed, demand for mechanism. So we can omit that. For the buyer side, so for the buyer's agent, it really helps closing escrow on time is you monitor, if there is loan, monitor buyer's lender and communicate with the buyer. Because I can close escrow, even with the loan, I close escrow in 8 days. Because buyer's lender was already. I can do that, ordering everything prelim, HOA document, rush, and I can close 8 business days. But the lender. So first thing you need to do as buyer's agent when there is loan, contact buyer, lender, encourage them to send the appraisal right away. Because escrow provides estimated closing statement to the lender, so they can put initial CD right away with the title, escrow fees, and HOA and property tax prorations, and notary fees, TC fees, or whatever the fee that need to go on the lender's estimate. The lender add lender's charges that become buyer's estimated closing statement. So when appraisal is delayed, then loan document will absolutely delay and we cannot close on time. I like to work proactive way and communicate with the lender and buyer and have a buyer submit all the documents. After 2008, the finance crisis, this lender is very detailed now, as you can tell, right? They needed so many documents from buyer. And typically your buyer works about 8 to 12 hours. That's why they can purchase house, right? And top of that, they need to provide their pay stub, their past tax returns, and all those documents is time consuming. So you help your buyer and encourage them to send those documents, whatever the lender's requirement, as soon as possible. Then we can close our escrow on time. Typically, so many times I prepare everything and wait until close of escrow day because seller and buyer plan to move in, move out on that day. So I wait and close that time. I love that kind of escrow and I'm trying to do that with a good buyer's agent that happens and seller's agents. Okay, so that's, I like to stress of 1 to 10 days of escrow. And next one is saying in the middle that escrow communicate with everybody, make sure all the documents in and audit, make sure buyer, seller complete all the document in completion. And there's no outstanding documents from 1 to 20 days. This chart is based on 30 days. And I like 30-day escrows. Sometimes listing agent gets 60 days escrow. It's more issue and more headache for everybody when escrow is longer. So 30 days is good time period. Okay, next one. So around day 20 to 30th, now I receive all the invoices from HOA, termite, home warranty, everything. Then I send sellers estimated closing statement. I seen some of the escrow company close without, if it's all cash, even sellers see their estimate and they get a complaint afterwards. I really don't like that kind of escrow practice. So I always send the estimate to both seller and buyer and call them or meet them and explain to them line by line. Because my purpose here as escrow officer, I like you to shine in front of your clients. Because I like to do smooth escrow process, so, and help your clients explain fully, then they'll have feeling that, oh, you are the good agent. So that's my purpose, and I think that's why we are doing well, right? So, did I do that?
Yeah, you did. You were really great with my client. You
Thank you.
really like helped her relax and you explained everything. She was really nervous
Your
about
client
it.
was nervous.
She was very nervous and you really calmed her down. So thank you for doing that. You took the time to talk to her and call her and all that. So I appreciate that.
No, you're welcome. You know why I can do that? Because I know how hard you are working out there, all of you. I can imagine how hard you guys working. Then here, you guys send me escrow, then that's least we can do, Rich and I can do, right? So great teamwork and colleagues.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cover most of everything here, and then I explained to you. So I try to sign buyer's loan document with the buyers and seller granted with seller. At that time, I can explain to them more extent explanation, so they feel really comfortable and they understood everything. I rather have them ask questions before escrow close, not after. So it's a little bit of more work for sure, but I would love to do that way than just get phone calls after the fact. Okay, and then one other my favorite time and loan funded. And I send recording document to the title company and send the email to everybody. Yay, loan is funded. We are recording, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the happiest moment. Then recording confirms like Orange County, Riverside, and San Bernardino County, same day. Then around 4 to 5 PM. It depends on first come first service that day, maybe after the holiday, and then county recorder's office is jammed, and so a little bit later, but by 5 PM, we get the recording confirmation from title company, then I send out, this is my most favorite time. Congratulations, your escrow is closed. Yay, then you handle the keys. Escrow doesn't handle the key. I wish I can help you with that, but there is so much liability, transfer keys, so agent's supposed to do that, right? And then disperse the funds. Again, commission check to your broker and all other checks, right?
So can you explain the disbursement of funds, because there are funds that you receive and then there are funds that the title company receives and they disperse. So would you just kind of define that for everybody to understand the monies that escrow holds and the money that the title company holds and disperses for example, loan proceeds and a loan payoff?
Oh, that's really good question, Rich, again. Yeah, it's all cash. As control freak, yes. I like to receive all the funds to myself. It's all cash. Only one reason I like to disperse as soon as possible instead of waiting title company to send me. You know, my client send to the title company send the money after they deduct the title fees, it doesn't make sense. I like to have that money so I can turn around and send seller's proceeds right away as soon as I receive title charges. Because there is no encumbrance or anything, then I can just send the title charges or even payoff amount I can already send to title company.
But you don't actually receive the loan proceeds from the buyer's.
Yeah,
loan.
I'm going there. So loan proceed, okay, go ahead.
Are you saying on a cash
Mm.
offer, that title receives all the
No.
money?
No,
Escrow will receive the money if it's an all cash buyer.
Escrow handles all, that's what I thought, and
But
they disperse
If
it.
there is a lender involved, the loan amount coming on behalf of the buyer is going to be deposited with the title insurance company. And they're going to disperse that money. So we don't receive the loan that the buyer is getting. We don't see those monies.
yes, so I reiterate that is that if the buyer has the lender, that big chunk of loan money will go directly to the title company, and title company pay all those demand and send back the leftover money to disperse all the funds. That's safer because title, and it's faster for title company to pay all other demands and send back to me. But that way, title company insure those wires, and we are too, but just the matter of how soon, how fast we can disperse the money. That's the reason.
So you have this look in your face, Gina. Okay, you sure? No questions? Sure.
So the lender wires money to title, and then the buyer wires the rest of the down payment to escrow.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So when purchase contract comes in, EMD, honest money deposit is how much, and loan amount is how much, and purchase price is how much. So whatever the down payment, buyer send it to escrow. When I provide them with the loan document, estimated closing statement. Okay, so lender's money, lender's funding money always go to title company. And client's money, sellers or buyer's money comes to escrow. So we can monitor wire instructions and those money going to the actual company.
So again, all cash is sent directly to escrow,
escrow, yes.
whether it's an all cash offer or it's the 20% down that they're putting, it's going straight to escrow account. But if there's a third party lender involved, the lender's money, 80% of the loan is being sent to the title company is paying off whatever liens are involved, it's all insured,
Very
and
good.
then sent out to.
Wow, 100%, Gina. Again. Thank you, thank you.
And then there's a question that a lot of the newer agents have, and even some of the more experienced agents. Can you explain the difference between funding, recording, and closing?
Mhm.
And when is the actual, when can they tell their client, like, we're done, we're, like, it's over?
Recording.
Okay.
Yeah, when you receive recording confirmation from title or escrow, that's when buyer is the legal owner of that house. It doesn't matter, seller is lease back, owner is buyer. And when recording confirms, then recording confirm time and date is important because that according to purchase contract, you can keep to the buyer. Sometimes you guys say 5 PM of the recording date or after recording, right? So that recording date is important. Buyer become legal owner of that house as soon as recording confirms.
But disbursement of funds will not occur until subsequent to recordation. So when the buyer signed up, the seller signed the property, if it records at 5 o'clock on a Friday, the payoff's not going to occur until the following Monday. Would that be true? Is it?
Oh, excuse me. I don't-
Listen. So I think sometimes people are concerned about how quickly they can get their money. The money's not gonna be dispersed until following recordation.
So it's still closed on Friday, but they're not gonna get their money till Monday.
Possibly not. So if we don't get confirmation until 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon, there's no possible way that we can disperse the money or title's gonna disperse money until the following business day.
Unless seller came into my office,
I
give
got a
me
check.
my check. Or agents, so that's another thing, there are a few sellers, even though they supposed to hand the key to buyer as soon as recording confirms, let's say the contract calls that. But seller say, I'm not gonna give up my key until I see my proceed in my. I had one incident, seller, agent tried to explain that seller, I tried to explain that seller, most seller is okay, but some of the seller, without my money, I'm not giving up this key. It doesn't matter.
Understandable.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Actually, you do, right?
To be honest, I agree.
But you have to trust escrow and title company. That shows how that agent's credibility, no.
But the contract says,
That seller
the contract indicates upon recordation,
Mhm.
that's when the buyer's entitled to access the property. Doesn't say when the seller gets their money.
Mhm.
You don't know the life trauma that people have lost. Like, there's some.
I have never had any
I understand that, I totally understand that, but that's
I
why,
don't trust the system.
that's why if I meet with the seller, they usually trust me, I don't know why, and they listen, they are.
This is being recorded, so you should say, I know exactly what.
Okay, yeah, Gina and I discussed this, on Tuesday too. Some of the clients, they wanna cross check between agent and escrow. So if we say the same thing, then that clients believe us. Mhm.
So yeah, a couple things. We deal with title companies that are highly reputable, publicly traded, well insured, we're well insured. So that means a lot. It's not a lot.
Mhm.
Well, I know our company Sterling too, but it's just that sometimes I work with other escrow companies
Mhm.
and some of them are really confusing. And
Confusing, they've actually misappropriated funds in my experience, so it's
It's like
interesting. They're
interesting
using other
thing.
funds to pay off other things, so it's scary.
It's scary
Yeah.
out there. Scary out there.
Or, well, it's been a week and we haven't dispersed the money yet, why not?
And I think most people in this room and some on Zoom have used Michelle for escrows, and I would say that everybody's had a great experience.
Yes, very good.
Oh, thank
Well,
you.
there you go, that's a great endorsement, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's conclude our class. Jack, do you think you got down the
You took
basic
notes,
of escrow?
yeah.
It's a lot of information, but
Right? Yeah, so hopefully I can have your escrow, then I'll walk you through step by step. Then you'll get it in like this, now with this.
It's taken me years.
Yeah, don't forget, it takes long time, Mark, but it takes long time, right? But persistence and keep trying, that will get there.
No, I think today was excellent.
Does anybody at home have any questions? Jonathan, Summer, Carrie, Harriet?
No, good.
Okay.
How was it, Harriet?
That was a good class, Michelle. You're a
Oh.
good instructor.
Oh, I'm so honored that you attend my class.
thank you very much, Michelle. I've got no questions. There's a lot to take in, a lot to learn, and I look forward to actually having a client that we can work together with.
Oh, I can't wait, Jonathan. Wow, thank you. Okay, this concludes our class and hope
Thank
to see you
you.
next time.
Thank
Jonathan.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.